All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 3 of Nomadic Stories. This might be episode 2, depending on if we can resolve last week's technical issues with our recording. However, we're super excited to be here after just about 35 minutes of struggling to get this thing going and messing with the internet. But we're here. It's myself, Marty. We got Jimmy right here, and we got Lewis in Scotland. And as always, super excited to get things going. And let's just get into it before something cuts out or before some crazy, unexpected issue arises. Welcome.
I think it's also very important to say we got another guest, which is the Birds, featuring the Birds on Jimmy and Marty's side. As you can hear, they're adding a nice little atmosphere. But you know, it's kind of a vibe actually. You know,
you can hear them that clearly, huh?
Yo, I can hear them nicely, dude.
And these birds chirp literally all day. They calm down at night, but all day from early in the morning until late at night. It's that volume, that constant. It's crazy.
You know what type of birds they are?
I don't know the species. I'll find out while we're doing this podcast, and we'll get back to it. But pause. Helicopter.
Bro, we're really in the trenches with
Airplane.
This podcast.
All right, we back. Go ahead, man.
Continuing from where I left off. So for anyone trying to start a podcast, I think it will be important for you to buy yourself a light setup, which we do not have, which is why we have lighting issues when we try to record inside where there is less noise. We also can't record at night, obviously, because then there's also bad lighting. During the day, there's noise issues. So we really just don't have any way of having an ideal setup right now. But I guess that shows a bit of our dedication to making this thing happen.
Exactly. It's resilience, man. But yeah, that's a good tip for anyone trying to start a podcast. Know that like a good setup obviously makes things easier, but when you're on the road, when you're nomadic like this, you can't always make it work. You gotta do with what you got.
Yeah. That's what I was gonna say. As long as even if you only have a laptop, like we have a laptop, a mic, a webcam, audio box, all this stuff. Even if you don't have that, you can record, like you can make solid content. So it's just not ideal. But anyways, let's get into it. So today I actually had something that I was thinking of earlier that I wanted to ask you guys. That's music related. Because I wanted us to maybe we'll get into a little debate from these questions that I got for you guys today. So I guess Lewis, we'll start with you. If you had one artist that you could bring back from the dead, who would you pick?
Damn. That's crazy, you know. I've never actually thought about that before. I'm trying to think of artists that I listen to that have passed away. I don't think I actually listened to that many that have passed, but this is damn generic, and I feel like Jimmy might have the same. Dude, of course, MJ, dude. The one and only.
You think about Michael Jackson, right?
Michael Jackson, come on now.
Michael
Jackson.
Wait.
That's crazy because there's whole controversy. I didn't even think about that, but for the music wise, I would say. Actually, wait. let me just sit back and think about that real quick.
The first person that popped into my head was also Michael Jackson, and I was listening. We were driving yesterday or the other day with my dad, and we were listening to it. I was singing along to every song, and I was like, "Damn, you know, it would be so amazing if he was still alive making music." But the reason I'm not gonna go for Michael Jackson is because while his like everything he has is amazing, like he did reach like he passed and transcended, I think, possibly the peak of his career. He had a really, really long career. So when I'm thinking about artists that I want to bring back from the life, I want to think of like maybe younger artists
Who could have made more
who
music?
could have made more music and would have
Okay.
maybe reached crazy heights that we would never know.
Ooh.
Obviously, you know, one of my favorite artists is Mac Miller. I wanted to see where he was gonna go, so he's someone that popped into my mind. Um, even thinking about even like old school, man. I also think bringing Tupac back would be crazy. Just because, like, aside from music, I feel like he would have done a lot of.
He would have still been pretty young, right? Like, how old would he be now? Like, maybe in his
Let's find out.
50s?
Yeah, like
In his 50s, maybe?
maybe late 40s, 50s. When is he born? Bro, because like aside from music, man's had crazy ambition, you know, even for like in acting
Acting.
and just making change in general. I feel like he could have been a crazy influence as well.
Yeah. But I mean, at the same, yeah, I guess that's when we're talking like bringing back from the dead. Because at the same time, around the time that Tupac passed, I feel like the whole West Coast East Coast culture was, in today's words, extremely toxic, bro.
Yeah. Yeah.
It wasn't going anywhere
Mm.
positive fast at all. So his career could have also took a very, I feel like it was taking a negative turn anyways. So it could have taken even more of a negative turn. But then again, I'm no hip hop historian, so maybe it was going the right way. But the person I had in mind when I asked myself this question actually was none other than, can you guess actually? How well do you know me, bro?
Okay. I got
It's,
one who I think
I'll just say it's none of the ones that we spoke about already.
Okay. Then I think you're gonna say
I thought about someone else, but I don't know
Bob
if
Marley.
you would.
It's Bob Marley, bro. Of course.
Ooh.
I thought about that too. I thought
Of
about
course,
that too.
of
I thought
course,
about
of
that
course.
too. That's a good
That
one.
right
That's a
there.
good one.
You know,
Yeah.
for me, I would have to say Bob Marley because I feel like his first of all, I feel like for me his music is so timeless. Like, don't get me wrong, if we look at like classical music and stuff like that, a lot of classical music can also be considered timeless, let's say. But if you listen to a song with actual words from, let's say, I don't know, the 1800s, it's not gonna make any sense. You know what I mean? You're gonna be like, "What are you talking about, bro?" Or But if you listen, I don't know how long Bob Marley's music it will be considered timeless, but everything he says in his music is, I feel, almost just as relevant, unless it's a specific historic event he's talking about. It's just as relevant then as it is now. And so in that sense, I feel like creatively he would have been creating classic albums up until now, and I feel like he would have had even more to say in today's day and age, because he himself would have also been much more connected to the world, and I feel like his music could have been even more interesting if it lasted up until now.
I agree with
Yeah,
that,
that's a
man.
good one actually. I don't. Yeah, I like Bob Marley a lot actually. My mom's a massive fan of Bob Marley, but like, yeah, for the reasons you said, I think Bob Marley's also a good shout. Um, I was thinking I want to take back my MJ one, even though like I still think he's probably like my
He's
maybe like
scared to
joint
stand on
first
that
or
deep.
like second. No. Like, and this I'm not talking about like any other things, but the reason why I said MJ is because I think he's probably the most like the biggest entertainer that there has to be. Maybe that's a big statement, but obviously he can sing, dance,
Yeah,
but like he's arguably the best or was the best at that.
yeah.
And I feel
I
like
mean,
today he would obviously be older now, but
but like,
be crazy to see like because he still has so much influence I think today. So if he was actually alive, it would be even crazier. But someone that we haven't said yet, I think and this dude when he passed away, I was like, I think this is the most like um I just started listening to his music a bit more, and I think it actually hit me a little bit more than like other people that passed away. That sounds kind of fucked up to say, but it's XXX, man. When he passed, I feel like I was shocked, like not only because the way that it happened, but because I don't know, maybe it was just the time that I was listening to that album, the X
Yeah.
album, and especially because like I think where he came from, like musically, was a bit more like everyone knows. I don't even know the songs, but they're really like aggressive, like hip hop
Hmm.
trap. But then he was like progressing into something a bit
Look at
more
me,
positive. Yeah, like look at me.
bro.
But then
Just quick interjection.
like
Like,
see his like change
yeah,
in his music. What were you saying?
festivals. When I was at a festival, like anytime, but this was already after you passed, yeah. Like we'd rage so hard to those songs. Like, look at me, bro. If I was at a festival and I would hear that music playing from like a bit far away, I would start sprinting, bro. I would literally sprint to be in the mosh pits, man.
Bro, it's crazy. I was working at Wuha, which is one of the biggest hip hop festival in Holland, at least. I was working there this summer, and still every DJ before the artist comes on will play that song in paying their respects to X, which is insane. It's been like
Because
what, 5 years? No, I
crazy
don't know how
hype, man.
long. A few years since he passed.
It's crazy hype, and I think he was especially sounds pretty cringe to say, but I think he was pretty important for like a lot of like the youth, obviously other artists, but he seemed very like aggressive in the beginning, like with Look at Me, but then like just on
Bro,
his
his
social media
lyrics.
and stuff, he turned to be yeah, no, he turned to be, I feel like,
That's right.
a lot more open
Mhm.
and like very positive about like helping people, and just I feel like a lot of people could relate to him. Um
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, especially the manner that he passed away is kind of fucked up. So I would say X, I think.
Yeah, I think why X was also so special is because he was so young and he was talking about such deep stuff, and particularly like mental health stuff, right? As like a young
Hmm.
black man, really like opening his heart about like some dark, 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 like suicidal thoughts, dark things that were people that were around him that were dying. Like that song Jocelyn Flores, his homie dying. Like that's like other artists weren't doing it in that same way with the same like rawness and the same
Hmm.
like vulnerability, and I think that was so powerful, dude. So that's a good answer, Lewis. But going back to what you said, Marty, about like timeless artists, I think who else would you put in that category? And what makes an artist
Just
timeless? Because
Wait,
alive and not
I
alive
do I do
in
want to
general.
come back though, quick. Like even when we're talking about XXX, Michael Jackson, artists and everything, like it's so easy for us to hold artists in like this limelight and put them on this pedestal, even though they might have been like shitty human beings. Let me put it that way. Because even there was all the abuse allegations surrounding XXX and stuff like that, right? I'm not saying
Hmm.
like, okay, uh, who would we not bring back from the dead, even if they made mistakes, if they did terrible things, like a lot of people. But you get my point.
Yeah.
um, Basically, to not say like, okay, it's good that he's dead or anything like that, crazy. But uh, you know, there was these terrible allegations surrounding him and things that he admitted to himself as well. And we still look at people in this yeah, like I said, we put them on this pedestal. Even Michael Jackson, R.
Yeah.
Kelly as well, even though R. Kelly is now in prison, but it took so long because people were like, what, R. Kelly, he could never do something wrong. um
Yeah, I feel like you're right. It's important to obviously there's a whole debate about separating, the profession or whatever, like the music with the personal life, but I think it's important to take them both as they are, and not sort of just single one out and forget about the other, because pretty
yeah,
serious things, like someone people that are very talented, and can make like become famous, very successful, but stuff on the other side, has to be spoken about as well.
yeah. But anyways, let's talk about these timeless artists Jimmy wanted to
Mm.
get into.
I think Bob Marley is the best, one of the like no doubt about it, timeless in terms of there's nothing that will make you at some point or make anyone at some point be like, ah, nah, I'm over this. I'm over listening to like
um,
Three Little Birds, One Love. You can't. You can't.
no woman, no cry.
It's like There's no way. And I honestly, I would probably argue Michael Jackson is also timeless,
Mm-hmm.
which is controversial because as time has gone on, maybe people have a different perception of his music because of his all the allegations against him and the things he was involved in or whatever. So you
Yeah.
could argue that maybe that makes it less timeless. But
I mean,
in terms of just the music,
yeah.
for me, I know that is timeless as well. What are you gonna say?
I was gonna say like, I mean, it might be a weird way to look at it, but just listen to this take, right? If we're looking at music as a product, yeah, and the artist as the creator, inventor, whatever of this product, right? It's like what if Hitler invented the car, bro? You're not gonna love cars any less, and you're gonna want to use cars just as much. But
Mm-hmm.
he's a terrible person,
But you need cars
and
though.
you need. I guess you. I guess you need cars. You don't need music. Okay, what about something that you still like? You don't need a
Nah,
TV.
dude, you need
Okay,
music,
what
Mhm.
if
man.
it was the TV?
Mhm. Mhm.
You know, and like what you know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
in the
I get
same
what
way,
you
in
mean.
the same way that like we don't even know the things, but there's like Nazi scientists and stuff that were brought to the United States after World War II. Wow, why did I put up four? World War II. Yeah, they invented
Mm-hmm.
so many things. They worked for NASA. They worked on the moon landing and all these things. Like they tried to hide, I guess, who was behind it or behind certain
Yeah.
things and probably certain developments and inventions. But terrible people have invented and are behind some of the things that we use every day,
Yeah.
and we don't know or we don't care.
I mean, yeah,
That's a very interesting take.
I agree, I understand, but I also feel like it's unrealistic, to a certain extent to like, I guess like this relates to like cancel culture, like to cancel everything that has been made by someone that is a bad person, for example.
Yeah.
Or to it's unrealistic to expect that everything good comes from someone that is
Mhm.
100% good. That's also another thing. Like, is anyone really ever 100%, a good person? So damn, that's deep as fuck. But
No. Yeah.
But then again, there's also the difference between being 100% a good person or like mostly a good person and being a terrible person,
Mhm.
true,
Doing very terrible
doing
things.
very terrible things.
Mm.
there's levels to it. But yeah, like this is kind of going on a tangent, but I guess that also, like I said, relates to cancel culture nowadays. Like people's, like we've seen it multiple times. Like we've already said Michael Jackson, R. Kelly, like, but those are obviously serious. What would you even describe it as? I guess
Allegations.
allegations, scenarios that we're talking about. But there's, I can't even think of an example, but like especially with social media, there's definitely been like less like people that get done for a lot less serious things, that just because like the power of social media, and because
Yeah.
like
I mean, there
it
was.
gets around to so many people that they can cancel you for even just nothing, man. you
Yeah.
know
That's true. I
so
mean, recently we had there was a whole the baby thing that was, I would say, less worse or less bad than like Michael Jackson and maybe XXX case, but also something that he got canceled for. And
Bro,
then,
his career I feel like is dead.
but
De-
I don't think so. I
not
mean,
dead, not dead, but like I don't know if it's true, but it might have just been a headline. But I did
mm,
see a an article that was discussing how he had to cancel a certain concert or tour because there was too few tickets sold.
I
mm,
saw that as well, actually.
I feel
yeah.
like
I
he
think that
got
was
canceled like kind of
like a
successfully, bro.
I think that was a show thing. Like the venue could only host or would only open if it got like this minimum amount of tickets, and it didn't reach that. So I
Mm,
guess that's understandable, but at the same time, you're the baby. Like, where's your fan base at, man?
bro,
Where's there people rooting
that's
for you?
true,
But
bro. I mean, it's the same with like Travis, right? He got shunned, bro. He got pretty much aggressively canceled for what he did at his show, where a bunch of the people died. But I also feel like he's still I feel like he got canceled, but not too successfully, man. I feel like
I
people will
think,
still go to his
yeah,
shows. I feel like when he drops his album, people are still gonna listen to it because of
bro, it's when
his
when
status.
you're that like, yeah, when you have that much status, when you're that successful, and you create like your own like cult for yourself, like your fan base literally turns into a cult. Like
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's people that are gonna ride for you no matter what. Like Michael
bro.
yeah,
Jackson,
I mean,
bro.
which is
There's
pretty
people that don't
crazy.
even like take into account any of
just the fact that people
the
died
wrong
at his
things he did.
concert already shows how crazy people go for him, bro.
So true.
Plus, I mean, I feel like it's not like he wanted people to die on purpose, bro.
Nah,
I mean, nah,
of course not. But um,
I'm sure
yeah,
he
it's
was.
tough.
There's a dead person. Let me continue my concert.
yeah. I mean, that's a whole debate. I mean, he just let it go on basically in those videos where he's like, "Nah, let's keep going," pretty much.
Oh, did you watch those?
Yeah, I watched some of them because I mean, it was a big thing, and it was like, I don't know. I mean, we don't need to go into the details of what exactly and how it happened, but the bottom line, obviously, he didn't want people to die, and he did get
Yeah,
canceled. But I think in the long run, it's not gonna have a big impact on his career, man. Like you said, Lewis, it's his fan base is so strong, and maybe people who were kind of on the edge, who were like kind of Travis fans, might not listen to him now, but like, bro, people, you're still gonna hear him in the club, you know. You're still, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, he has dropped too many classic bangers as well. Um,
yeah.
I mean, if Travis dropped the album tomorrow, I would 100% listen to the whole thing immediately.
That's the thing though. Like when you're, it's tough because like I feel like when you cancel someone, you're canceling them for things that they, well, in most cases it's for like their personal sort of life or things that happen that aren't related to their actual craft, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like you're not canceling Travis because his music is ass, because we all know that it's
Or
not,
his music is problematic.
you know. Well, that's kind of different. Maybe if your music is actually
Pause.
an issue. What's up? Oh,
Dance time.
that just got louder and louder, bro.
That was a Air Burkina Faso Boeing 747 and just over ground there, just landing. Yes,
It's
clear.
gone now, right? Yeah.
Resume.
But yeah, so I think, like, yeah, like I was saying, you cancel someone for not the actual talent, their craft, unless they're being like like pretty crazy with it, like talking about, I don't know, murder and killing and stuff like that, which some people do and get away with it. But
Like the
like you were
baby.
saying with Travis, like you're not gonna cancel him and because of his music, because if something drops, you know it's gonna most likely be good, and then that's why you're gonna listen to it. So
Yeah.
there's different ways to go about it, or different sides to look at it from. But
Yeah. All right, guys. So I had another question on this whole topic. Um, and that is another music related question, another
mm-hmm.
artist focused question. So if you had to pick one artist to
Mhm.
listen to for the rest of your life and you can't listen to anyone else,
Mm-mm.
who would you choose?
Easy,
All right.
easy, and there's only one person you can choose.
Who you gonna say?
You said it's so easy. Okay, go.
It's easy, but you're not gonna like it. It's Drake.
Who?
It's obviously Drake.
Drake.
These niggas, yeah, Drake. Drake.
It's obviously
I knew he
Drake.
was gonna say Drake. I knew it.
Aubrey Graham in the wheelchair. Drake.
Yes.
Y'all niggas better stop playing with me in here.
The only reason why I'm picking Drake is because he'll give you he can give you everything.
Like
Like
all the types of
he
music,
can literally
right?
do everything.
Nah, certified
Yeah.
lover boy.
Ah, yes.
I don't even like that
Can give
album.
you
I'm not gonna
everything.
lie, but bruh, I think he's one of the only artists where you can, like, he's one artist where you can get almost every
Quick
genre
pause.
out of
Quick
him.
pause.
Yo, Biggie, what's happening, dude?
He's become a barker, dude.
Bonjour.
Hello.
Resume. Drake is
But
the
yeah,
artist you would listen to if you could only listen to one artist for the rest of your life.
Tell us why. Tell us why.
I think when you say it like that, it's a bit my justification is a bit misleading because the only reason that I would pick him is because it would give me um different genres, different moods. I don't want to be in the same mood for the rest of my life if I have to listen to one person, you know? Like usually there's a bunch of artists that I like for like specific moods and atmospheres that they get me in. For example, if I'm feeling sad, put on some, I don't know, Taylor Swift or something. I don't actually listen to Taylor Swift, but
I get
but I
you.
don't
I
want to
get
be
you.
I don't want to be like, I don't want to be stuck in that for the rest
Yeah.
of my life. With Drake, you can just there's so many different things, man. Like he can get in his Take Keith bag, give you that high energy, or he can get in his Take
Club
Care mood,
music.
or yeah, he can get in, currents.
Yeah.
What's it
You go
called?
even a bit
Flights
of
booked.
drill.
It's so
And
true. You can make a whole gym playlist just from Drake. You can make a whole playlist to cry all night long from Drake's music.
exactly,
Just relaxed vibes at home, like study music. He got some for that. He really does have something for everyone,
You
man.
got happy. You got heartbreak.
Happy.
Feel like
yeah.
singing
So
along. It's a good answer, Lewis. It's a good answer. I
I
won't lie.
wouldn't necessarily say he's definitely not my favorite artist, but for that specific scenario, if I'm stuck on an island, need to listen to one person for the rest of my life, it would probably be Drake. What about you
You know, it's
guys?
I don't know. Now I'm thinking like
Man.
I don't know if Drake is my favorite artist, yeah, but there's so many of his songs that I listen to so often, like on repeat. Like he's the type of artist where like I have at least like 15 songs of his that I can listen to over and over, and I just like they hit me so hard. And me and Marty, we have a shared playlist even of like of like some Drake songs that we just like love to listen to, and we can just listen to it all the
Oh
time.
man,
We always play
I
it.
always put that
Catchy, man.
playlist.
And so, out of all the artists that I listen to, he's probably the one I got on repeat,
Man,
maybe the most, man.
no,
I'm
not me though. No, like, man, I didn't think about the question even in that sense. I was again thinking about Bob Marley just because, like, he, whenever I listen to it, it's, I'm enjoying it, you know.
yeah. Hmm.
But you're right. Then, like,
reggae can get repetitive like that. Bro.
imagine it worked in this way, right? Anytime you hear other music that someone else is playing, it just turns into this artist that you chose. So, like, say you go to the club, whatever music they're playing, you just hear Bob Marley.
See, nah, I couldn't do that, man. I couldn't do that.
You know,
Couldn't
so
be in the club listening to No Woman No Cry,
yeah,
dude. Hold on.
so exactly, bro. Dang. But then,
Try to think of someone else.
who is the artist in that sense, right? Who is the artist that you listen to the most, and it has to be then that person. Like if that was me, I would have to choose Gunna.
Fair.
Based on your Spotify rap.
Based on my Spotify rap, I know for a fact if I look at artists, Gunna is the one I listen to the most, and it's only
Mhm.
because of one album. I think in the last 3 or 4 years, I've listened to that album at least 100 times, if not more.
Yeah, you keep playing
Well,
it.
one
I
of
always
or
play it
Drip or
from back
Drown.
to back, dude.
Which one?
Drip season 3. I said it
Oh,
myself.
for real?
Yep. It might be one of my top 3 favorite albums. I'm not saying it's the
Yo.
best, guys. Relax.
Nah.
It's my
Yeah, like
opinion. For the audience, it's my opinion. I just love that album.
And you got that on repeat
yeah,
the most?
fair.
Oh, the most.
Yeah.
Gunna's a solid like he definitely is kind of in the same bag most of the time, but he's definitely solid. I got a lot of Gunna songs in my gym playlist for sure.
Yeah.
If we're taking it like that, mine would probably be my Spotify rap for the past 2 years. Party Next Door has been at the top, dude.
Oh,
And
Interesting.
it's kind of like R&B ish, but he can also kind of move it around a bit with different genres. But yeah, it would have to be him, which I'm not even too mad about. That's probably my favorite artist at the moment.
Party Next Door.
But
Is it
yeah.
not a group?
Nah, it's just one. It's one dude.
Okay.
Mm.
I would think
Um,
like Party Next Door, it's multiple people because it's a party, you know. But
Exactly. That's true. Thanks, but
Great analysis.
yeah,
Now,
yeah,
for
that
me,
would be
that
that would be me.
my top artist was Drake, I think, last year. So for me, it'd be Drake, and I'm not too mad about listening to just Drake, to be honest. But yeah, bro, I'm gonna stick with
I
Drake.
feel like-
I can't really.
people are gonna come through and think we have bad music taste. I feel, but
Yeah,
like
gonna
the thing
get-
is, yeah, at the end of the day, right? I would say like when it comes to like my favorite, I love J. Cole, I love Kendrick Lamar. Like their songs, out of all the songs that exist in terms of hip hop, right? Let's not even go to other genres because I don't
Mhm.
even want to get into that. It's gonna be so long. But some of their songs are the ones that hit me the most. But like I don't always need to be in my feels or thinking too much, you know? Like there's a what was that? Let me check, let me show you guys, man. Like there's like I love those artists, but yeah, like I said, sometimes you just want to vibe and you don't want to actually listen to what they're saying. And they also have music for that,
Mhm.
but still,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
I mean, even though Drake was my favorite artist, like as a creative and as an individual artist, like I still prefer Kendrick over Drake. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like I still have much more, in a way, respect and like appreciation for his art and what he can do with his creativity. But I do find myself probably listening to more Drake because it's just easier to. I don't know if it's easier to listen to, but there's just different vibes, man. But
Mhm.
Yeah.
yeah,
Like for example, if we're just like in the car having a good time, right? We're playing this Gunna song the other day called Wanna, right? And I was just like, wait, what is he actually saying? Like, let me look at the lyrics, right? Let me read this to you, bro. I was shocked. You know how Spotify has the genius thing at the bottom? I just went to it and I was like, no, this is not real, bro. What is this guy talking about, bro? Look. All right, I'll just read it in like regular English so we can understand nicely. I won't try to do the Gunna accent. I can't even read it. Yo, do the ad libs. Do the ad libs.
okay.
Do the ad
Where are you
libs.
reading from?
From the top. From the top.
But you're gonna rap it, right?
No, I'm not. I'm
You
just
gotta-
gonna read it just to really make the point of
Okay.
how ridiculous these things can be, but how they can still deliver such a vibe. You know? Maybe we can put the song over like in the when
You
we
gotta rap
post
to
it.
bro. You gotta rap.
No. Okay. Muddy, poured up.
Pull it up.
Gotta, cutter.
Cut it.
Lotta, orders.
Orders.
Dollars, quarters.
Hey.
Wrist, water.
Hey.
Rich, porter.
Hey.
Your bitch, on now.
On now.
Gonna, wanna. Commas,
Rex.
hundreds, hey.
Hey.
I'm a stoner.
Donut.
Sauna, summer.
Hey.
Benny, Hana.
Hana.
Cook up, hey.
Hey.
My crew paid.
Fade.
Surfer, wave.
Wave.
Yeah, that song is hard. I'm not gonna lie.
That song is so hard, bro. But he's just saying like random stuff that rhymes in his chorus, you know? It has nothing to do with each other.
I know. I mean, that's why I like. You gotta with some music, you just gotta take it how it like
Yep.
take it how you hear it. If you try like dissect it too much,
Mm.
that's when
Yeah.
The
your-
voices
your
are
inner
instruments
critic
these
becomes
days.
like too Yeet. I listen to a lot of Yeet. I'm not gonna lie. In the
I
gym,
haven't-
especially.
I haven't delved
I haven't
in
listened
yet,
to
bro.
him.
Really, yo, you gotta listen to Yeet, especially if you're in the gym, bro. He'll get you through your last
Really?
for sure.
What's his song? What's a good Yeet song?
I mean, his most popping ones are probably "Get Busy" and "Sorry About That." But
Alright.
bruh, his sound is completely like it's different. It's a bit like I think the first time you listen to it, it's a bit strange, man. It sounds like you're in a video game or something, bruh.
Okay.
And then like the way he raps is a bit like he uses his voice, like you said, as an instrument. He's very like I don't even know how you make that noise with your voice, but again, like it's like most like rap these days, you know. You're not saying like too many deep things, but it's just the way it sounds. And if it sounds
Yeah.
Yeah.
appealing, then it goes, you know.
bro. So I haven't listened to any Yeet songs, but do you know Channel 5 News by Andrew Callahan on YouTube?
Mm-mm.
All gas, no brakes.
I've heard of that, but I haven't.
All right, to all the audience, you
Listen
need
to
to go check out the All Gas No Brakes old videos. Whole channel, whatever, got technically, I'm gonna just say stolen to keep it simple, from the creator of it, who now started Channel 5 News. And he goes around and like, he has like artist interviews, random interviews with like street gangsters. He'll go to concerts and speak to the artist fans and stuff like that. He also has a segment that he did a couple times where he like finds a random fan from the festival and like makes them meet their favorite artist, and it's just all around hilarious content, all taking place in America. So you can imagine
Mm.
kind of how ridiculous it gets. But so he did an interview with Yeet, and like that was kind of my first introduction to Yeet as an artist. In that interview, and I was like, bro, pause. Okay, resume. So that was my first introduction to Yeet as an artist, right? And he was just talking to him. This is my thing these days with artists, bro. They be making the most famous, um, good, popular music, but then when you speak to them, it's like they don't even. It's like they're so absent, bro. But you see them in concert and they're just like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah. Anyways, that was just how I heard about Yeet, and you guys should go check out Channel 5 News. It's interesting, but yeah, sorry, that
No,
was
no,
a
no.
bit of a Anyway,
That's the
anyway,
that's the artist aesthetic, man. When you're an artist, everything's different. You don't speak
Nonchalant.
normally, bro.
you can't think
You
anything is
become a
cool,
bit
bro.
mysterious. Yeah, you become too cool. That's what it is.
Nah, you stay humble, dude.
But I feel like he is. I feel like in that interview he did come off as humble,
Mm.
but he also came off as like very absent-minded, in my opinion, bro.
Maybe he was just really high.
Probably talking about he eats 14 bowls of Frosted Flakes every day, dude.
He's definitely high.
That is insane, dude.
He's munching all day, bro.
Yeah. Wait, we didn't say our artist that. Oh, did you decide on Drake?
Yeah, man. But I might come back to it in another episode with a better justification. But
Man, I think that's it for me as well, man. Actually, I don't know, man. I don't know. What about? Can you
So
listen to? If we're specific with it, can you also listen to songs that they feature on, or even songs that have features from other people on their songs, or that's allowed, right?
Only
Or is
the-
it just
only
only
the-
their voice?
only the
yeah, I
second
say
part,
I
bro.
say why not? Oh yeah, maybe.
I don't know. I feel like if it's another artist's song and they just have a verse, like I feel like that's a bit too much, bro. But if
I don't know, dude.
wait, who did you say?
I didn't say anymore.
We gonna
You
come
not say
back to
Bob
this
Marley?
maybe. Oh, you
Yeah.
said Bob Marley. Nah, but there was the doubt. There was the repetitiveness.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we can come back to that.
One day.
Alright, so last episode around about then, we asked on our Insta if anyone had any questions for us to talk about on the podcast. And we got a couple. But we're just gonna talk about this one by Ed, our homie Ed. So he said, I think for a lot of people who grow up internationally, deciding where to start building your life or career is always tough. We're often caught between being at home, our people, climate, and culture, or trying to move somewhere else for better opportunities. So that's what he said. And I think some questions that I've kind of just come up with that come from that are how do we decide where to move? And then just in general, like the idea of leaving your nest, so to speak,
Yeah.
like your home, to how do you deal with that, I suppose. And shout out to Ed for giving us
Thanks,
that
Ed.
question.
Just like
Well,
Eduardo.
yeah, what do you guys think? If you need me to repeat it. I got you.
No, you're good.
It's a difficult one, and I think for me right now. So wait, so the question is, how do you sort of decide, given the nature of like your nomadic background, where to kind of go next? You go back home. Where do you set your next steps? Right.
I guess so. Yeah, I think that's what he was getting at. Also, for me, the way I also interpret it is just kind of like, where do you consider home? You know,
Mm.
if or like, how do you do with like leaving your home to like, how do you know you should do that, or you know?
Mm,
Go ahead.
all right. So, for me, at least, when it comes to leaving home, quote unquote, right? For me, what I've what I've kind of realized is that I find home is kind of a fleeting place. It's even a changing concept for myself. Like, home is different at different time has been different at different times of my life as well. Like, home used to be more of a place, and then home is more like people. Like, I feel for our family, home is kind of usually where my mom sets roots, or like you know sets her new life down, because my dad has been on the move a lot, and then he'll be at home for extended or short periods of time and then leave again. So kind of where my mom rather stays in one place for longer periods of time. So that's usually kind of been home for me. And so, going back to wherever my mom lives has been kind of the home base, in that sense. Like, our mom recently moved to Burkina Faso, so now it's like, okay, we're going home. All of our childhood stuff is in this new house. Our old couches, our old beds, our rooms are in this new house. And of course, my parents are here, so that kind of makes that moving out has like been a logical step, to go to university in Europe. It ended up being Holland, honestly, because it was the best and easiest and choice that would make most sense at the time.
Mm.
Uh, but then there's one thing that I want to get to, but maybe you guys can answer this first, and then I can bring it up.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I would I would say my definition is pretty much similar to yours. I mean, we've pretty much had the same trajectory, and like for me, kind of like you said, home has become really just where my family is based. So where my mom's based in Burkina now, and there's even more of a feeling of home right now because my dad's side of the family lives here. So then it's like it's felt more home than the other homes I've had. Let's put it that way. So like in Zambia, I felt like home because we had our stuff, all of our material things, and our dog and my mom, of course. But we're still in like a new country where we don't necessarily speak the local language, and everything is still pretty new to us. Same in Tanzania, it was home, it was a base, it was where we were living. But the added factor now of having our family or half of my family here makes it really feel like, wow, I'm home, and I'm also learning more about my family, learning more about my roots and about my culture. And that's been really like special as well. um, but at the same time, what's funny now is like when I think about going back to Rotterdam, which is where I live, I also feel like like I tell people I'm going home, like I'm going back home. I tell my homies, yo, I'm home soon, kind of thing. So in that sense, my home is here, but my home is at the end of the day also there. You know what I mean? Like even when
Yeah,
I'm here, like as much as I feel at home with my family, I still feel like there's something on
Yeah,
the other side of the world where like that's where my stuff is, and that's where my other family is.
friends
So
wise,
mm,
yeah,
friends and also literal
yeah,
family.
yeah,
I mean, it's a bit different, but
yeah.
yeah. So right now, I would say it's defined by people, and I wouldn't say I have one home either.
I like how you said it's like a concept because it changes, like you guys
Hmm.
have already said. I would agree with that. My case is just pretty much that my family hasn't really moved, so my home literally is just there. Not necessarily, well, it is necessarily because that is where my actual home is, like where I grew up. But also, I feel like if, like you guys, if my family were to move somewhere else, obviously you kind of set up a new base there, and that comes your home. You know what I mean? Um, But yeah, I feel like I think he was kind of trying to get at like issues or like how it's challenging when you're away
Mm-hmm.
from
Yeah.
home, you know? But I feel
Yeah.
like and I'm sure we've all kind of faced that when you're moving around, you know, like moving from I guess home, which was Tanzania back when we were all living there, to
Yeah.
like move out to uni and stuff like that. It's obviously very different. People go different places. You're kind of separating yourself from your home, your family, like you said, like family and friends, like us, for example, um, to sort of create your own new nest and base, which is pretty daunting if you think about it.
Yeah.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I think one way to sort of, or one way that like that helps with sort of keeping that or making that sort of new home become your or making your new home is to try to find like-minded people or people that are trying to do the same thing as you know. Because there's loads of international people all over the place, and it's not even just like international people, it's just people in general, you know, just like-minded people. You might find people from your actual home or just people that are on the same page in terms of they're not from where you're based at now, and you're sort of trying to establish those connections to I don't know, make that experience more comfortable, make you feel more like um I guess yeah, comfortable with being away from what you normally
Mm.
would consider as home, and
Yeah.
yeah, establishing that new base.
Yeah.
Agreed. I think I think for me, being like very honest, I think something that I've struggled with, in terms of like home thingies, home things,
Mm.
has kind of been, uh, so when I moved to the Netherlands, I moved first to The Hague, where I lived for 3 years and 2 years without Jimmy being in the country. So I was like by myself essentially. Um, and I really established, let's say, my own home there. I had my new extended family and my friends and people like that I got along with really well, that I spent a lot of time with. I Even though I invested in my home, I got myself new furniture, those kinds of things. Like I actually spent time on it, thinking about it and stuff like that. It was extremely messy, but it was still mine and it was my home and I was comfortable in it,
Mm-hmm.
to a certain extent. And then after that, I moved to Rotterdam. I moved to Rotterdam for a year. Then I started studying in a different city, and I kind of had this idea of these places that I lived in, like different houses for like short periods of time. And the fact that I didn't know always, like, okay, how long am I going to stay in this city, or how long am I going to stay in this house, kind of, uh this idea of having a certain uncertainty of like how long I'm going to be in a certain place, kind of stopped me from investing or taking the time to make the places that I was living into my home. And it kind of, you know,
For
it kind
sure.
of gave me this feeling of like every time I would leave is like, oh, I'm going home. Like last year I spent 5 months in Zambia with my parents, which was great, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, that's not where I live. That's not where most of my
Yeah.
friends are. I live in the Netherlands. That's where my stuff is. That's where I'm going. That's where I was, going to school and everything. That's where I have more friends and stuff. And my parents live in Zambia. That's my parents' home. But just kind of this having this uncertainty and that causing me to not create a home for myself there, I feel like was really, like, it stopped me from living life to the fullest extent and from me living my best life
Mm.
where in the place that I was living. And I had this conversation with someone a couple months ago, I think, maybe like 2 months ago. And we are just talking, like, she's you know, she's from somewhere else as well than the Netherlands, but she lives in Holland. And like this idea that we have of always being going like to our parents and being like, oh, I'm going home, is it makes sense, but to a certain extent, it's also like the place that you go to live, you should make that your home.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because like you should, like, where are you most comfortable is in your home, you know, like where do you want to be, spend time, have your friends over, is like in your home. So I feel like for me, that's something I didn't do for 3 years, is make the places that I was living, or the houses that I was in, really my home, and spend time and invest in it. Doesn't mean you have to spend a lot of money, but spend the time and the energy to make things comfortable,
Mhm.
which I didn't do because I was always like, I don't know how long I'm gonna be here.
Yeah.
And I ended up being there for 2 years, you know? Like,
Yeah. And those years went by fast too.
those years went
Yeah.
by fast. So it's just kind of this idea of like, wherever it is that you go, even if you're there for a short amount of time, you should make time to make a place your new home, you know, and
Mhm.
call it home too. Because at the end of the day, that's where it is and that's where you are.
Yeah.
And that's how
Yeah.
you'll enjoy it best, I think. And that's something that I learned from this conversation with this person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's
So thank you for that.
super important point.
Yeah.
Like, and that what you said as well. Like, home is not a physical place; it's kind of constructed by yourself and the people that are there. But you can also, to a certain extent, make it yourself. Um, yeah, I totally relate to that. Even like on a lower scale, moving around like the same, like within Aberdeen, but after living in one flat for like 3 4 years, and then kind of just moving around, like staying with my sister for a bit and then staying in my friend's flat for a bit, going back to my sister's. Like, the uncertainty of, you don't know when, like how long you're going to be staying for. You don't want to unpack all your stuff, you know. I don't have time to repack all this stuff. I don't want to decorate everything, you know, because I don't know how long I'm going to be here.
Yeah.
But then you do slowly start to realize, like, when you're just staying in a room that isn't has no sort of character, like any, it doesn't like reflect your sort of character or anything to do with you, you know. You feel very detached.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Feel like you're, I don't know, like super, I guess, comfortable, but also able to fully, you know, like you said, you want to feel comfortable in your home. You don't feel that sort of comfortability, or if that's even a word,
Yeah.
when you're like in your home. So it's definitely an important point that you said. No matter how long, okay, if it's like 3 days, maybe you can allow it 3 days, but like,
Yeah.
if you don't know how long you're gonna be there, I feel like you should definitely have
Mm.
a little plan in place to
Yeah.
make your living space a bit more, you know, remind you of home, or just make it like, I don't know, like
Make it your home, you
a bit
know?
more nice to for yourself to live in, because
Yeah. I
yeah.
think it's also just that the idea that, like, it's like you said, right? You had this idea in your head. A lot of people who are international students have this, like, this phrase they say, like, I'm going back home. I'm going back home. And I think the sort of the underlying idea there is that home is one place. And I think that
Mm-hmm.
that's
And
because
you're
everyone's
not
like, what
there.
is home to you? And you always kind of feel like, oh, let me think of all the places
And
I
pick one.
live, and where my parents live and all that, and let me pick one. When at the end of the day, I think one thing we can all agree with after this conversation is, like, home doesn't have to be just one place. And better yet, it should be, especially if you have, you know, your roots spread, like, you should also take pride
Yeah.
in knowing and accepting that you have multiple homes, and each of those homes gives you something different.
Yeah.
My home here in Burkina Faso gives me love and family time and connection with my roots, whereas my home in the Netherlands gives me a lot of opportunities and connections and friendships, and you know, I'm building my life and starting my career there, you know. So there's, you have to just, we have to, I think, just deconstruct that idea that it's one place, you know.
Yeah.
It can be multiple places to you, and each place can give you something else. And I
Yeah.
think there's something so beautiful about that, you know. Why is it, because every time someone asks me, I'm like, damn, that's such a hard question. It's hard because I think I got to choose one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, man. I hope that, that being said, we answered Eduardo's question.
Like,
Luis.
on it, yeah.
I think we definitely got
Yeah.
something
I
to
so
talk
agree
about
with you.
there.
Like, honestly, I think home should be where you are, really. You know? Like
Mhm.
as like home should be wherever. If you're living somewhere, that should be or become
Mm,
your home
mm.
for however short, long that it is. You know, we're not talking about holidays here, but that should be your home, and then you can go to another home. But like you
Mhm.
said, you tell your friends that you're going home. You know,
Man, I met I met someone who told me while I was traveling, and they kind of told this story in kind of a like making fun kind of way, because you meet people who are like, I don't know, quite like spiritual in the kind of more mainstream sense, and
they're
um
gonna look at this and be like, "Bro, why you do me like that?"
no, but like it's like a person that I met that told me this story. I don't even know who or what, I can't remember, but they basically said that they met someone that, and the conversation went up like, where is home to you? And she said something along the lines of like, um home is like, I am home, or like home is within me, or something like that, which they kind of laughed at them. Like they laughed at them whilst telling me like, haha, look what this person said. And in the moment I was also like, oh, that's kind of funny. But now that we're talking about this and like kind of
We're
trying
lit.
to accept home and that feeling of love and comfort that home gives you, kind of getting that wherever you are, it's kind of a similar concept.
It's literally that.
Mhm.
It's
as
literally that.
yeah, so I think it's funny that we came to that conclusion.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking about that person. But yeah, man, I think that's a beautiful thing, man. What you said, home is home. Home is like that girl said, dude. Home is within, dude.
Home is within you.
Home is within.
I am home.
I am home.
She did this whole thing as well.
I'm
I,
home.
I
Within
added
you, I
that,
guess.
bro, for comedic
Said,
effect.
I'm home.
I
I'm
am
home.
home. My heart is here.
You perfectly said, I'm home at the 1 hour mark of this episode. Did you have anything more to add, Lewis?
No, I didn't actually. I was just wanting to ask if you wanted to add one more thing, or
Yeah, as long as we also answered Eduardo's question. I think we did. I kind of got lost track of what the question was, but
We're
I feel
good.
like we went into
We had a good
about
conversation
it.
from it, so
So
I think
appreciate
we
that,
did. I
Eduardo.
think we did. Yeah,
Um,
big up. Appreciate that. I think we're definitely gonna take more questions,
yeah.
or ask for more questions later on, because
Mhm.
it's kind of cool for people to give us topics and then talk about,
So on that note, guys, thank you once again for listening. I think I really enjoyed recording this episode, guys. Like all the music topics, and then this deeper topic towards the end. So yeah, I'm really excited to get the feedback on this, guys. Please comment. Like the video, subscribe. It would mean a lot to us. And make sure to check out our Instagram, We.nomadicstories. We're going to be posting a lot more clips on there in case you're someone who doesn't like watching long format video. And
we got you.
that being said, thank you guys. Love you guys. See you on the next one.
Salute.
Peace.
Thank you. Peace out.